The Disrupt Education vlog can be found on YouTube. To hear it in podcast form, search Disrupt Education on any of the following podcast platforms: Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Castbox, Overcast, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Spotify, or Stitcher. Welcome to this episode of Disrupt Education. We are here with Insomniac Studios. I'm just going to call you the family right now. That's cool. Let's go around and tell a little bit about who we are. Let's throw names out, and then who we are and what we're doing with Insomniac Studios. So, yeah, you got to go first. You all point at each other.
Hey, it's Sam, also known as DJ Unstable. I DJ from Southside Chicago. I also intern for Insomniac Studios, so yeah, here.
Awesome.
I'm Brian Sykes. I'm the project manager of the studio. Help to put together albums for people, get them with the right producers, making sure that we're putting out content on Instagram and Facebook, things like that. So it's part of the job.
Yeah.
This is Marlon King. I am the owner and head engineer and head producer at Insomniac Studios. So that's what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm Gabby, known as Lotus. I'm an artist, and I'm currently an intern at Insomniac Studios.
Awesome. So we have two interns, the owner, the guy who dumped in, and then the guy who jumped in with him, right? Is that where we're at? Okay, solid. So I'm going to guess we're having a little bit different educational paths. Can you guys talk to your educational paths? Basically, let's go from high school till now. What did that look like? Because I'm guessing there's 4 different paths here.
Sure.
All right. So I went to Hillcrest in high school.
Mm-hmm.
My junior year, our house got foreclosed, so we ended up having to move out, and I ended up going to Tinley Park, which that was a different cultural switch up for me. But I think it was the best thing that could have happened because I ended up going to Illinois State University, which I went for 4.5 years, and I graduated. So that was my educational path, and I think I'm thankful for it because from high school to now in college, I feel like college when I became myself, and I feel like I found myself. So without that piece, I don't think I'd be the person I am today.
So all right, Redbird.
Yeah,
there we go. All right.
I went to Dunbar High School. I wanted to go for art.
Yeah.
They didn't actually have the art shop class that I had wanted to go for because that closed down right the year before I got there. So I ended up stuck with computer networking. Sorry for anybody that's into computer networking. But from then on, I finished computer networking. I wanted to go to school for graphic design, something with animation. Because I was really into that. So I kind of learned to develop my skills there, working for production services, getting into video work, also accessing the side of music, the love music that I had with, singing classical music, singing in opera. And so from there, I was a part of a group called the God Hour. We ended up meeting Marlon through Donda's house. And, we kind of stayed with him ever since. Came on as the project manager in 2018 and, hit the ground running. So, that's where I was.
Nice. Marlon.
So, yeah, I went to high school back 20-something years ago.
we're about the same age, so I would say 15-ish years, maybe, plus some.
So I went to Thornwood High School. Graduated there and went to Howard University for mechanical engineering. Until I got burned out, literally.
Right.
And dropped out after a couple years, came back. I started working for Ford Motor Company, and I did a bunch of jobs for them while I was working for there for 13 years. They ended up sending me to school for tool and die. So I went through a skilled trade under Ford. Did that for a while, liked it. Before I left, I ended up doing another job, running basically the maintenance program at Ford, running sitting in front of a computer for 8 hours a day. But it let me pursue my other passion, which was music. So I was able to have my personal laptop at Ford, and still do my regular job. And long story short, they ended up offering buyouts around 2006.
Mm-hmm.
And the buyout I took ended up sending me back to school.
Mm.
And where I went to, I did Berkeley online
Mm-hmm.
for music, and graduated there. Ended up doing an apprenticeship at 35th Street Studios for 2 years. Worked there for another 2 years, and then opened up Insomniac Studios in 2010.
Nice.
So,
Coming in on 10 years. 10 year anniversary. Nice. Awesome. You're next.
Okay. Well, Gabby / Lotus. Yeah, I started off I graduated from HF, Homewood Flossmoor High School. Then from there, I went to Harold Washington, got a minor in liberal arts. Then I decided I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do exactly. I always was a writer. I wrote stories as a kid, so I'm like, why not try to go to school for film and cinematography?
Yeah.
So I went to AI downtown for a couple of years. They ended up closing the school down. I took a semester break off right at the semester where they closed the school down.
Oh, okay.
So after that, that's when I just pretty much started diving deep into music, and that's
where you are now.
Right.
Right. So we just got out of a conversation with a couple of Future Founder members and understanding, their past. We have a few generations here, I'm going to guess. So just because Marlon and I are older. But I would love to hear some of the ways as you look back on your education, specifically in a traditional high school education path, that then jumps you into, wherever you're going to go, What did you not like about high school, and what would you change about high school? I'm just going to throw that out and speak as you will, or what your truth as that comes. So that's a big question, but
For me, I didn't like that. Looking back, I didn't like that high school did not offer many programs or classes that taught you just about life, like working on your credit, internship classes. Like I didn't have that. I feel like we have a lot of classes that do educate you on like things like history class, stuff like that. Basic things. But what about how do we go about outside of life? Because I feel like a lot of us leave high school and we're just thrown into adulthood. Right. And we just don't know what to do, especially if you don't have that much of a supportive system at home, or your parents really trying to guide you. Because a lot of us, that's just what the world is. A lot of us don't have very stable parents who really got their stuff together either. So that's something that I would like to see in the school system. Is just offering classes and programs that really help kids transition from being a kid and learning how to adult.
Right.
So
yeah, I hear that.
I get that. It's kind of common sense classes, right? Like you get out, nobody understands about credit. Nobody understands about balancing checkbooks.
APR.
You know what I'm saying? None of that. So I definitely can get with that. For me, I don't think that, especially when we were back
90s.
Yeah. There weren't many, especially opportunities or programs as it is now, which is, I think, a step in the right direction. I just think the curriculum itself is just outdated. It hasn't kept up with society. It hasn't kept up with the generations. Like, there's a different way that people learn now, and I don't think the school adapts to that well at all.
Right.
So,
right. Yeah.
I would say, especially since I'm an art guy, the true understanding and appreciation for art and what are the actual types of employment that you can get from being an artist. A lot of times, especially growing up, you're taught that if you're an artist, you're going to be starving.
Right.
That's just what it is at the end of the day, when they don't tell you that some of the greatest graphic designers made the Coca-Cola logo. They make your books. They turn around, help to build websites for the actual schools and things like that. So a lot of times you don't really see the benefit or the understanding or the end goal of what your actual passion for is. You know what I'm saying? So you end up going through life and you think it's just a class that you do, or you think it might just be a talent that you have that you might do, but you don't understand the full scope of how you can actually turn that into something that will support you for the rest of your life.
Right.
It's just kind of like, here's a class,
Yeah.
take it. Maybe if you're good at it, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
If not, then, go work, somewhere at Walmart or something like that.
Right.
Have it. And there's no offense to anybody, but it just, I don't really think a lot of times that they really foster talent. Like sometimes you'll see that a kid or two might be picked up if a teacher really takes an interest in them.
Right.
But the overall culture of the school should be actually developing the next generation of human beings. If we don't do that, then you're going to keep what we was talking about before. Each generation blames the next for being lazy. But if you don't instill in them the passion of where the world is going next, like with technology, technology is about to be everything. And jobs like trucking and things like that might be gone after a while. And so what does the next generation do if we don't show them how to plug in to what the world is going to be next? So that's
the key with being able to be adaptable, changeable. Because a lot of the industries you're talking about, some of them are in their infancy.
Right.
Some of them don't even exist yet. You know what I mean? So we're talking about how do we train people to exist in industries that don't even exist yet.
Yeah, but it's coming fast.
It is. That's why we just got to be malleable.
Right.
Because Apple is selling me a new phone every 3 months, and it's doing something different, or we getting technology, especially in the industry that we in, engineering. There's either a new plug-in or a new software, a new type of computer that's coming out. And a lot of times, if you're not up on it, you'll get lost.
Right.
So for the future engineers that's coming out, they still might be done with Pro Tools 9. By the time they get out of there, Pro Tools is went astronomically to a whole other level. The type of plugins and how you deal with sound is totally different now. So it's learning how can the schools get tapped into what's really going on in the market, and how to be able to build their students from that.
Yeah. I think it moves faster. Well, it does move faster than education. What kind of teachers would you guys look at to be optimal teachers in an optimal system? What does that look like?
People who are in the industry.
Yeah.
Like, I think the days of somebody standing up in front of a room and talking about something that they've never done is pretty much just a wrap for them. To piggyback on what I was talking about when I was going through Berkeley, I got the best of both worlds in 2006 because I got introduced to all the new latest in technology. But the studio that I was interning at was full of all old engineers who never even touched a computer.
Analog.
It was all analog, and I loved it because I got the best of both worlds. You know what I'm saying? These are the guys I'm talking about. I learned more from them than I ever did from opening a book. So I think you just have to have a good balance of people who actually have real world experience, and it gives you credibility when kids will pay attention.
Right. Yeah. Other thoughts on that? What does a good teacher look like?
I feel like someone who's just open-minded in the sense of allowing the students to, like, instead of, there's a curriculum and there's a certain way or a certain answer and it's yes or no, but letting them explore the other opportunity, or even just letting them grow within that answer. Like instead of just yes this is the answer, or no, this is not the answer. So I do think the curriculum is outdated because in high school I didn't like how it was just, I was very smart. I basically didn't have to study. I just went into class, took my test, and got good grades. I was like, that's it. But it was like, I didn't really, it was like a means to an end. I knew this is what I need to do to get to college, and that's it. It wasn't like, I'm taking this and I'm keeping it and instilling it.
Did that work for you in college? That
Nope.
same style?
It was a rude awakening. After my second semester freshman year, I was like, oh, I got to change something. I got to actually put work in.
And that's exactly where it's at in college too, by the way. That's why, So
that's when the rude awakening happened. And I think as a teacher, being honest, when I say open-minded, I mean like honest too, just being honest of what we're learning and why we're learning this will help them. Like if it's just, I'm just getting curriculum and I'm learning and I'm studying and I think this is just what I need to do because someone who says this is what I supposed, why do I need this information? Why is it important?
Right.
I think it's
very good point.
Educators should tie their curriculum to reality as much as possible. So me being in graphic design, it didn't really click for me until I took this art and marketing class that was run by Terry Becker. he gave us a product. We had to learn how to market it. If we had to learn how to use Photoshop and Illustrator, the skills we was already learning. I had to turn around, recolor the box, make it my own, but still keep the logo on it. I had to make a marketing plan for it. And actually run a commercial. So if I'm going to apply for a job, what does that look like for me as a graphic designer, or what does this look like for me as an engineer, or what does this look like for me as a carpenter? Things like that. How do I keep in touch with technology, but also incorporate it with, what I do? So when I get out in the real world, I'm doing graphic design. They want me for marketing. I need to think like them in order to be able to do my job. If I can't think like them to do my job, then I'm fired. Within the next, 3 to 6 months. If I don't know how to maneuver around and act like I know what I'm doing. That's at least that's my take on it.
I like it. I hear that.
And to put it simply, I just feel like you need teachers that care.
Mm-hmm.
You don't. I feel like the school board or school system, it just needs to be more selective of who they hire to put in those type of positions to influence and teach kids. Because I can name on two hands the amounts of teachers that I had that just didn't care.
Right.
You can tell in their face and how they talk to the students. The effort, it just wasn't there. I probably had two good teachers, I'd say three good teachers my whole entire school life that I felt like who actually cared about me and my well-being. So that's what I want to see with teachers too, just teachers who care.
Yeah, it's interesting, all of these things and everybody's chasing a number or letter. Right? I mean, that's what I still feel that. I know that's what I did in school. It wasn't about the knowledge. It wasn't about, because I feel, Brian, when you were talking about putting that out there to a client, it's different now. Right? They're either going to hire you or not or something like that.
It's no grading scale. Right.
How do you change that culture? Because we always talked about, and we had this conversation with the founders as well today, with parents, my parents knew education like this. And then we knew, as a parent, I knew education like this. And because I think we're in touch with it a little bit, I mean, I'm in the industry, but also, you're seeing it with your kids, okay, well, this is where I learned and this is what you have. Let's try to figure this out together. Not all parents are, awesome like us. I mean, right? But what I'm saying though then is how do you get that mindset gone? The everybody's got to get a 4.0, go to Harvard. How do you change that? I like to ask that question.
We'll have to start over in certain instances. Probably tear some of it down and restructure it.
And we can come in with all these new ideas and new people. What are you gonna do with the old people? We can do with the old people, the foundation of it. We just got to give it time to pass through the system. Which is a bad answer, I guess. But
I think
it's legit.
Even with you might see like Eventbrite. And sometimes they offer free programs to learn different things, whether it be technology or things like that. I think those need to be more widespread. People need to market it better because of the simple fact that that's the bridge between, the older and the young, because of the simple fact that we could both turn around and do the same things, but how we present it to the world can be totally different. One might be a little bit outdated than the other, but we can actually both be on the same playing field if we learn how to use this piece of technology. You know what I'm saying? If we learn how to, network a little bit better by using technology, things like that. Like it's not really pushed on us either to be able to keep up. To learn what's going on, what's new.
Right.
The thing is, you get out of high school, you get out of college, you just glad you got out of there with the bill you got. Before you even get a job. First thing that you turn around and see your last semester is how much you got to pay. So it's like, well, if I'm not getting an internship somewhere, or if I don't have a direct contact to a person that's going to employ me, what do I even do with this? Why does my degree even matter? You know what I'm saying? But I think at the end of the day, if it's really pushed in our society, but especially in the schools, to foster, learning among not just the children but adults. Because then when a child argues that I don't necessarily have to go to school to be able to do a certain profession. Now, certain professions, I don't want no doctor working on me.
Right.
I don't want that.
Yeah, right.
But for certain professions, I don't have to go to school because I can do this with social media.
Right.
I can create this product and put it on Sellify. You know what I'm saying? And market with social media and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like if they truly understand it, I think we can kind of come to the common ground. It might sound lofty, but
I think you have to dream like that, though, right? I mean, that's where we all get where we are. I wanted to ask you then. Okay, so in your singing, did you learn Italian? Did you learn Spanish by doing that?
It's funny
because you mentioned that before, like you did some Italian opera and whatnot.
It's funny, like we used to watch Channel 11 as kids.
Yeah,
and of course, and you marking Pavarotti. You're not serious about it, but I ended up learning good diction by turning around imitating them. But I didn't never think in a million years that I was going to turn around and learn that. I wasn't trying to.
Right.
But I ended up learning that in college. Learning that in college because of the surgery that I had that, it kind of stopped me from singing a little bit. But through the vocal techniques that she was training me that classical singers use, it was able to help me to get to where I need to be, vocally, to be able to learn that stuff. But that's the other thing, trying different professions that help you to be bilingual. Don't ask me to speak Italian regularly.
Right.
Can't do it, you know what I'm saying? I can't do it.
Right.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
But there are avenues because you are now looking at jobs now to ask you to be bilingual. And depending on what background you come from, you're like, how in the world am I supposed to actually gain that skill? I learned Spanish in high school because they made me do it. Yeah. Not because they gave me a reason to. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
To. So, there are certain things that you can do and try out in college that will give you the advantage in learning different languages, entry level things you can do. So that's how I kind of end up learning, Italian and things like that.
So how do you all then? So there is education in your industry, in the music, in the studios, and the recording, and all the marketing, and all the stuff that you all do. And you have to teach. You also do some courses or setting up some courses as well. Let's look at the sexy part, like the artist, right? And everybody's like, yeah, I'm going to be everything. You obviously know it's a long road. It's hard, and you have to put your heart and soul into it. And nobody sees that with the A-list players, right? What do you all do in your studios to actually kind of walk people through that and help them learn that run? Just wanted to ask that question because we're all in the education industry. So.
Okay, I guess I can answer that best by just giving an example of.
It's funny, Lotus and Sam both looked at us. Yeah, what do y'all?
I put him on the spot. Yeah, right.
What's going on?
We got two interns here that are like, hold up.
That's a valid question.
Yeah.
For me, I'll give the example of King Davis.
Yeah.
Right? So he's an artist that I met probably 8 years ago. We built a relationship, built a bond quickly, and he was the one that actually asked me. He's like, "Do you have an internship program? How can I be your intern?" So that was when shifted my understanding. I'm like, I probably need to start developing a program to start helping these guys to do something different. So, long story short, he was an artist. He became an engineer, and then he learned production with me, and it just made him a better artist. Like I watched him skyrocket. You know what I'm saying? As an artist, you have understanding of engineering, even the basic principles. Basic principles of production. It changes you as an artist. It makes you aware of things that you can do that you probably didn't know you could do before. And it changes the way you write. It just makes you a better all-around person. And now, when he goes to another studio, he's an asset. He can jump in the chair and engineer. He can get behind the boards and make a beat. I mean, it just makes you an all-around threat. So it does nothing but help you.
I think the other thing is, okay, you're an amazing artist, so tell me, what's a performance rights organization? How do you collect royalty to first? How are you going to make money off of what you do? What does a contract look like? What is it talking about? What is the language? Right. Because you can be talented. Somebody wants to sign you. Do they own your name? Do they own your likeness? Right. These are things that a lot of times sometimes artists stray away from, but it's more so just a lack of knowledge because it's not necessarily known.
Mhm.
It's more known today than it was
Right.
even 5
Yeah,
years, 6 years ago. You know, I've been in a lot of programs where they taught the artists how to be able to, sharpen their craft, but it was like, well, what about this other information? If it had not been for the group that I'm a part of, I would have never known to dig to be able to figure out, okay, what's a copyright?
Right.
What's a mechanical royalty? You know what I'm saying? What's a sound recording? Why do labels own people masters? Why do they own their publishing? Why is there so many broke artists out here as far as when you look at the Temptations and people like that? People who put their blood and sweat and tears on stage, but they don't have a dime to really show for it. Who's doing the writing? Can I be a writer and not be on stage and collect the money from there? Can I get into music licensing and just write for different companies and stuff like that and never have to go on stage? Maybe I got stage fright.
Right.
Maybe I don't do the best at performing or whatever like that. But that's what we kind of try to teach at the studio because at the end of the day, if your paperwork is not right, your artwork can be the greatest. Yeah. But somebody can turn around and claim your work. And it'll be all over from there. And you have to continue and fight for something that you originally created out of feeling of love and appreciation and a passion for your craft. So that's our biggest thing.
So what I'm hearing is like it's almost an individualistic basis. Like so where is an artist coming in? And then, okay, here's where you're at, what you have, and then what do you need or how can we help you? I feel like there's a synergy with kind of a new school in general look at that, right? Some more individual look at some things. So when you talk about teachers who actually care, then they can start to hook you up with different people who, because they know who you are, what you're interested in, and in your case, it's in the music industry, in the sound industry. So that's really interesting to hear those two things play out. I mean,
you got to move at the speed of need,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Because how many of us have been in some kind of school where they were hell bent on teaching you something you didn't care anything about? And even worse, in college, you had to pay for it.
You're right.
So I just don't want to force anything on anybody. If the artist doesn't need it, then we don't want to do it.
Right. Yeah, that's nice. So, in closing, tell us where people can find you and what people can do to connect with Insomniac Studios. You can throw a shout out here on your brands as well. I got help the artist out. But yeah, let's start with Insomniac Studios. Where can people find you? Where can people contact you?
You can go online, check us out. We're at Insomniac Studios, insomniac-studios.com. That's the website.
Yeah, you can also find us at Instagram. So it's the letter N, Insomniac Studios at Instagram. Also, Insomniac Studios all together on Facebook. You can find us there. You'll see the producers that we're working with, the artists that we're working with. If you want to book a session with us, most definitely come work with us because we try to put the artists first as far as helping them to develop their sound. Of course, it's a business at the end of the day, but we do want to turn around and help Chicago artists, more specifically because that's where we are. And we help to develop that industry. So,
yeah. Nice. Interns, man, now's your time, man. You're on a podcast. Let's see what's going on. So, yeah. Where can people find you? We'll start with you.
You can find me on Instagram at Mixed by Unstable, MIXEDBY Unstable. I DJ a lot of different things. Do my own events, have clothing lines. And mixedbyunstable.com will be up in the next month or so. So I'm definitely working on building that brand. So, check me out there.
Awesome.
And you can find me on IG, Lotus_Flies. You can also find me currently on Tidal, Spotify, iTunes. I got a couple of singles up.
True.
Yeah, right. Well, promotion. That's what we do here. But I think it's fantastic. I love the fact that the studios, the artists, and then really almost everybody is an artist in some way or another, right? And whatever, if their art's math or if their art, that's the way I like to view the world. So I appreciate you all sharing your thoughts and ideas on education. It truly needs to be disrupted. There are some good things out there that we can build off of. Those slow changes are going to happen, but I appreciate that, and so do our listeners and viewers. So thank you all for being here.
Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you next time on Disrupt Education.